Hello, my friend, and welcome back to Story and Motivation English. I'm really happy you're here with me today. Before we begin, let me ask you something simple. How was your day? Was it good? Was it busy? Or was it one of those days where you feel tired the moment you open your eyes? If you feel tired right now, trust me, my friend, you're not alone. Many of us have days like that. Days where work is heavy, time is short, and our brain feels completely full. And on those days, learning English can feel impossible. Maybe you know this feeling. You come home after a long day. You sit down. Your body says, "Please let me rest." And your mind whispers, "I should study English, but maybe tomorrow." Tomorrow becomes the next day, and the next day becomes next week. And suddenly, you feel like you are starting again from zero. If this sounds familiar, my friend, I understand you. I really do, because I have been there too. There was a night, just like many nights, when I came home after a long, exhausting day. I put my bag down. I looked at my notebook on the table, and my first thought was, "Not tonight. I can't. I'm too tired." I almost walked past it. I almost ignored it. I almost told myself, "It's fine. You can skip today." And honestly, skipping felt easy. So easy. But right at that moment, a small idea came to my mind. A tiny idea. An idea that felt soft, gentle, and possible. What if I just do 10 minutes? Not a full lesson, not a big study plan, not 1 hour of grammar, just 10 minutes. It sounded small, almost too small, but something inside me said, "Try it. 10 minutes is nothing. You can do 10 minutes." And that choice, that tiny choice, changed more than I expected. Because sometimes, my friend, a small step is the thing that keeps us moving. A small step can stop you from giving up. A small step can start a new habit. And that night began a story I want to share with you today. Let me tell you what happened next. So let me take you into that evening, my friend. The evening when this whole story began. It was a Thursday, a long, heavy Thursday. I had meetings all morning, messages and emails all afternoon, and a small problem at work that stole my last bit of energy. By the time I got home, I felt like I was made of stone. Tired, slow, and ready to fall on the bed. I remember closing my apartment door and taking a deep breath. The kind of breath that says, "I survived today, somehow." I left my bag near the door and walked to the kitchen. I poured a glass of water and sat down for a moment. The room was quiet, and the silence felt heavy on my shoulders. On the table, next to my glass of water, was my English notebook. A simple notebook with a blue cover. Nothing special. But when I saw it, my stomach sank a little. You know that feeling, right? The feeling of guilt. The little voice in your head that says, you didn't study yesterday. You didn't study the day before. Are you going to skip today too? I looked at the notebook and felt a small wave of frustration. Not anger, just disappointment in myself. Because I wanted to learn. I truly did. But wanting and doing are not always the same thing. My brain started giving me excuses. You're too tired. You need a break. You can study tomorrow. You had a hard day. And honestly, all of those excuses felt true. I walked to the couch, sat down, and leaned back. My whole body said, stay here. Don't move. And for a moment, I almost listened. I almost let the tiredness win. I almost let another day pass without learning. But then, in that quiet moment, I felt something else. A small, soft disappointment. Not because I was lazy, but because I knew that skipping today would make tomorrow even harder. You know how it is, my friend. When you stop for one day, you lose a little rhythm. When you stop for 3 days, you feel like you must start again. And starting again is always harder than continuing. I looked at the notebook again. It felt far away, even though it was only a few steps from me. And then that tiny thought returned. What if I just do 10 minutes? 10 minutes. Such a small number. Smaller than a TV break. Smaller than waiting in line. Smaller than scrolling on your phone. And I said to myself, okay, 10 minutes. If I'm still tired after 10 minutes, I will stop. But I can try. So I stood up. My body felt heavy, but my heart felt a little lighter, just a little. I took my notebook. I opened my phone and found a short English podcast, something only 5 minutes long. I pressed play. The narrator spoke slowly, gently, with simple English. And for the first time that day, my mind became calm. I listened, not perfectly, not actively. Sometimes my mind wandered, but I kept listening. Just 5 minutes. Just a small step. When the podcast ended, I was surprised to feel awake. Not full of energy, but softer inside. Then I opened my notebook. I decided to write just 5 new words. Only 5. I wrote them. A simple verb, a common noun, 2 adjectives, and a short phrase. 5 words, but they felt meaningful. After that, I picked up a tiny English book I keep on my shelf. It has short stories, only 1 or 2 pages each. I opened a random page and read for 3 minutes. I didn't understand every word, but I understood enough. Enough to enjoy the story. Enough to feel progress. Enough to feel alive again. And when I finished, I looked at the clock. 10 minutes had passed. Exactly 10. Not one more, not one less. But those 10 minutes changed my whole evening. My tiredness didn't disappear, but something inside me shifted. A small victory, a quiet victory, a personal victory. I felt proud, a soft, warm kind of pride. The kind that says, you didn't give up today. It wasn't a big achievement. I didn't study for hours. I didn't finish a difficult lesson. I didn't memorize 20 new words. But I showed up. I did something. And at that moment, something was enough. I closed the notebook and smiled a little. A real smile, because I knew I did not break the habit. I kept the rhythm alive with only 10 minutes. And that night, as I went to bed, I realized something important. Consistency is not built with big days. It is built with small moments. Moments that look tiny on the outside, but feel strong on the inside. Those 10 minutes taught me a lesson I want to share with you today. Because maybe you're like me. Maybe your days are long. Maybe your time is short. Maybe your motivation goes up and down. Maybe English learning feels heavy sometimes. And that's okay. We are human. We get tired. We lose focus. We fall behind. But small steps can bring us back. And 10 minutes might be the step you need. But there is something more I want to share with you. A lesson that explains why those 10 minutes matter so much. Let's move into that next. So, my friend, let's talk about the lesson inside that small moment. Because those 10 minutes were not magic. They were not special. But they worked. And there is a clear reason why. The truth is simple. Small steps create real change. Many people think they need one big study session to improve their English. One long hour. One full lesson. One perfect day. But the problem is, big steps are heavy. Big steps are difficult to repeat. Big steps need a lot of energy. And most days, we don't have that energy. But small steps are light. Small steps are possible. Small steps are friendly even on a bad day. And when you repeat a small step again and again, it becomes a habit. A soft, gentle habit that grows a little more each week. That's why 10 minutes works. It's short enough that you don't feel pressure, but long enough that your brain wakes up and says, "Oh, we are learning." Just 10 minutes is enough to keep your connection with English alive. Now, let me show you something useful. 3 simple 10-minute activities that you can use in your own life. These are easy, practical, and perfect for A2 to B1 learners. 1. Listen for 10 minutes. This is my favorite. You can listen to a short podcast, a slow English story, or even a simple YouTube lesson. Choose something calm and friendly. For example, one 5 to 10 minute episode of story and motivation English. That's enough. Just listen. Don't worry about understanding everything. Your ears will slowly get used to the rhythm of English. 10 minutes of listening each day is better than 60 minutes once a week. 2. Write down 5 words. 5 words only. Not 10, not 20, just 5. They can be new words from something you heard or random simple words you want to remember. Write them in your notebook. Say them out loud. Make a tiny sentence with one of them if you want. This takes maybe 3 minutes, maybe 4. But it's powerful. 5 words a day become 150 words in a month. 5 minutes becomes real progress. 3. Read one short paragraph. Not a whole chapter, not many pages. Just one small paragraph from a graded reader. A simple article or a short story. Reading even a tiny piece helps your eyes get used to English structure. You start to feel the language, not only study it. And the best part? Reading can be relaxing. It slows your mind and gives you a peaceful moment in your day. These 3 small activities can fit into any schedule: morning, lunch break, on the bus, before bed, even when you feel tired. Because the real goal is not perfection. The goal is a connection, a daily connection with English, even a small one. When you keep that connection alive, something happens inside you. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to feel that English is part of your day, not a big, scary task you can never finish. And slowly, your confidence grows. At first, you do 10 minutes because it feels easy. Then, after a few days, 10 minutes feels normal. After a few weeks, you sometimes do 12 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe 20. Not because you must, but because you want to. That is the power of small steps. They invite you in. They don't scare you away. And here is something important. Small steps are not small when you repeat them. One day of 10 minutes doesn't change much, but 10 days, 20 days, a month? That is real change. That is a new habit, a new rhythm, a new version of you. Big change is not one big action. Big change is many small steps, walking in the same direction. So, my friend, if you sometimes feel like you are not improving, if you feel stuck or slow or tired, remember this. You don't need to do everything. You only need to do something. Something small. Something gentle. Something possible. 10 minutes can keep your English alive. 10 minutes can protect your progress. 10 minutes can help you believe in yourself again. And just like that night in my story, your 10 minutes can become a quiet victory you carry into tomorrow. Now, let's take this feeling with us and move to our final part, the part where we bring everything together and choose one small step for your own English journey. Let's go there together, my friend. My friend, we have come to the end of today's episode. But before we say goodbye, I want to leave you with something warm, something simple, something you can carry into your day. Tonight, we talked about a small moment, just 10 minutes, a short piece of time that almost felt too small to matter. But as you heard, those 10 minutes changed my evening. They changed my mood. They changed how I felt about myself And most of all, they kept my English habit alive. And maybe you know that feeling too. The feeling of being tired, busy, stressed, and ready to skip your English practice. It happens to all of us. It is normal. It is human. But here is the beautiful part. You don't need a perfect day to make progress. You don't need one full hour to feel successful. You don't need the right time or the right mood. You only need one small step. Just one. Because small steps build trust. Small steps build rhythm. Small steps build confidence. And confidence grows quietly in the background of your life. So let me tell you again, in the clearest way I can. 10 minutes can change your tomorrow. Not because the 10 minutes are big, but because the 10 minutes remind you that you are someone who tries, someone who shows up, someone who keeps going even on a difficult day. And that, my friend, is the kind of person who learns a language. Before we finish, I want to invite you to do something. A simple challenge, a small promise to yourself. Choose one tiny English step for today. Just one. Maybe a short podcast. Maybe 5 new words. Maybe one paragraph. Something small enough to feel easy. Small enough to complete. Small enough to make you smile. And after you do it, come back and tell us in the comments. What was your small step today? I would love to hear about it. Your small step might inspire another listener too. Thank you for spending this time with me on Story and Motivation English. I'm proud of you. You're doing great. And I'm here, cheering for you every step of the way. Take care, my friend. And remember, your English grows one small step at a time. See you in the next episode.